Welcome to Moms with a Call. We're not here to preach, convert, or fix you. We're here to listen.
We're Mackenzie
and Rebecca, two women with messy stories, honest questions, and a quiet hope that maybe Jesus looks a lot more like love than we were ever shown. If you've ever wondered if there's a place for you in all of this, there is. Come, have a seat at the table. You're safe here. You're welcome here. Let's begin.
So I met Sterling at a youth event. When I became a believer, I started volunteering with the church I was at with the youth group and leading a girls group. Sterling happened to be roommates with the student pastor there, and his other roommate, Mark, was dating my friend Alicia at the time. Now they're married and have children. So it's just such a cool story.
So full circle.
Goodness, right? All full circle. So Sterling showed up at this event, and I was feeling, well, he's kind of cute, but I am a single Pringle, and I am just like, I'm going to be growing in myself and just figuring out who the heck I am. I have no desire to have a man interfere with any of these plans at this point. I need to be secure and figure out my own dad issues that I have too.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm working through all sorts of insecurity, shame. Really, what does it mean to live in the fullness of Christ? What does it mean to be a believer? And that's complex when you're a new believer. You're figuring out,
I still think it's complex.
oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
What is okay? What's not okay? What can I do? What liberties do I have? What liberties don't I have? And I will say, when I became a new believer, I really swung to an opposite side. I cut people out of my life. I got rid of like a lot of things. I essentially just started my life over. Looking back now, I don't think I needed to do all that, nor do I think it was helpful. And I have some very close friends that aren't believers, and I love them and I value them and I pray for them.
Yeah.
But they are amazing people too. And so I want to put that out there, because I think so often we think we can't be friends with people, or we can't be close to
Absolutely.
people who are not Christians.
Or
And
that they're
is-
going to pull us away from
and they're
Right.
not. We need each other.
Why would, you
And-
can't give so much credit to someone ruining your relationship with Christ that easily.
Yeah,
Exactly. No, I mean, God met me where I was at. And if that was the case, no Christian girl would have been friends with me.
Yeah.
I assure
Yeah.
you.
We're called to love
Yes.
everyone.
Jesus met me where I was at in my mess. And praise God, he sent non-judgmental girls who met me in that mess too, and never once judged me.
Yeah.
And that's key. And even as an adult, I have really great adult friends that he's brought into my life. We were just in Fayetteville, North Carolina with some friends, and my friend Carrie is amazing. And again, she's that very bold friend. And I love it because she's so honest and it just inspires. I have another friend in Winston named Tiffany, who she's a quiet but strong soul. And so we all need these different women in our lives.
Right? God in scripture was saying, I made the arm to do this, the leg to do this, the eye to see, the ear to hear. If every single body part brought the same valuable thing to our lives, we wouldn't be human. Everything works together. And that's how our community should be.
Yes, absolutely.
I completely agree. It's like an ecosystem.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We're science girly.
I love it. I love it. Yes, we could talk STEM all day,
Yeah,
right?
love
We could. So I'll fast forward to how I met Sterling. I met him that night, and he kind of, every room I went in, there he was. He just kind of kept showing up everywhere.
He does
It's
admit
kind of
to
like
this.
Jesus, though.
Yeah.
He just keeps showing up.
And I had never seen him before. And so it was getting later in the evening, and he's like, hey, my ride left me. Can you give me a ride home?
Convenient.
Convenient, right? It turns out he told his ride to
Get out of here.
I'm not shocked, right? So then I gave him a ride home. So I gave him a ride home, and we actually sat outside of his house and talked for a long time. And then he said, do you want to go out on a date? And I said, no. Now, there are a couple of reasons why. Number one, I'm still trying to figure out who I am. The other part of me didn't feel worthy. And it sounds so crazy.
No,
to
it
say
doesn't.
But I think a lot of young women and women can
Yes.
relate to this. I didn't feel worthy. I thought, I come from this really horrific background. You like come from this Mary Poppins home where, and little did I know, right? I certainly did not come from a perfect home. He was not perfect, but in my mind, I thought, I'm not worthy of this. And for some reason, I felt like I had to be deserving. And that was the furthest thing from what God had.
Not at all.
So Sterling pursued me, and there was something really beautiful about that. And I had never really been pursued in that way before. So the next night he shows up at Alicia's house with Mark, like where he had never gone before, right? And there he is. He's like, hey, we're going to this chicken stew, out at some farm. Do you want to come? I'm like, nope, I'm good. And then the next night he shows up again, and I'm leading a girls' small group. Y'all, he walks in. Now, I just want you to understand, we had beepers. Beepers, right? Cell phones were not a thing. So he walks in, and he says out loud, Kellie, I'm picking you up at 7 tomorrow, and we're going on a date.
You're like, guys, I have a stalker.
No,
And-
Sterling says that. He goes, I mean, some could call it light stalking, but
And before this, he had just, he picked up the guitar and started playing. Y'all, like that did it right there, right? He was playing the guitar, and then he said, I'm taking you out tomorrow at 7. And I've got this small group of all of these high school girls, and they're like, oh,
swooning,
yes.
and you're like, I want
Right? So I said, okay, like I can't say no in front of this big group.
He
Now,
knew that too.
you played the guitar and you put like the 16-year-old girls on me. If I say no,
I
like,
feel like such a jerk.
yeah. So I said, okay. And the rest is history. And I still remember what he was wearing the first night I met him. He had on these like faded blue jeans and this blue and white like check shirt, an old Gap barn jacket, some Bass boots, and an old beat up Wake Forest baseball hat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nice.
I still remember that.
I love
And
him. He is so funny.
we went out and it was really cool. We decided we were just going to be super laid back. We went to this place called East Coast Wings.
Yes.
And yes. Oh, we got
so good. If
Yeah.
you're a Greensboro, Winston area.
That's right.
I'm from Greensboro.
All right,
so yeah,
so
Summerfield,
we know
Greensboro.
those places, right? We got wings, and we went and just got coffee and pumpkin pie ice cream and walked around Old Salem, which is this beautiful little place in Winston-Salem.
What a perfect day.
And
And not the witch trial, Salem.
No,
just
no.
to be clear.
That's where my mind went when I first heard it.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous.
It's like a Moravian community, right?
It's a Moravian community that's been preserved, and it's just these beautiful old homes and Moravian church there. And we just sat on a bench and we talked, and for the first time, I just felt really comfortable and really safe. And as our relationship progressed and I shared my story with Sterling, he never judged me. I think I judged myself and probably projected that judgment onto him.
Yeah.
And felt like if I feel this way about me, he must feel that way about me. And he never did. He just always loved me where I was at. And one of the things he would always say, he's like, oh, I'm not perfect, right? Like we all are sinners who have fallen short of the glory of God, and we're redeemed.
Yes.
We are redeemed, and that is just such a beautiful picture. And just meeting Sterling, if God would have told me that I would have married a pastor,
Right.
like, what? No
Yes.
way. This
Oh
is
my
not going to
gosh.
happen. And
Here
So
you are.
was he a pastor when you met him, or he was still in seminary?
So Sterling was in seminary.
Okay.
He had done student and college ministry the majority of his career. And so he was in seminary. He was also finishing up his paramedic because he wanted to go to PA school. So he had applied at Yale and at Wake. And it just didn't work out. The doors didn't open. And Sterling, on paper, an ideal candidate. You know, excellent grades, excellent bedside rapport. You name it. He really would have been ideal. It's just not what God had. And so he remained a paramedic for a bit while he was in seminary. And then he was a student pastor at a church for a very long time in Yadkinville.
Okay.
And then we moved to Southport, where he was on staff at a church there as a teaching pastor and student pastor, and then went into teaching.
So where did your journey then kind of fit into this with your career and
Yeah.
where God had plans for you?
It's so wild to look back, because I think, how do we have time for all of this
I know.
to even happen, right? 4 degrees, 4 kids. So Sterling
Wow.
finished seminary in 2001, and I was very pregnant with Chandler at the time. So our oldest will be 24 next month, and I was very big. It was very hot at his graduation. And I just remember thinking, am I going to see my ankles ever again? What is happening? Right.
I'm still working on seeing mine, and my
Same.
baby's 9 months old. So
Yeah, it just takes, they'll come back. You'll see your ankles again. I promise. Promise. But I just was still kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I was really happy being a wife, and again, just growing some of those friendships, figuring out where I wanted to go. But again, that self-doubt was still there. And I just remember my mom saying, Kelly, what do you want to do? Like, you're so smart, and you don't see how smart you are. I'm sure I frustrated the crap out of her over the years, not seeing myself in the way she saw me. And my Aunt Deanie, who, again, she was a nurse. She passed. She always believed in me. My Aunt Carol, my grandmother, and I miss my grandma and my Aunt Deanie. Those are just two incredible women. And my grandmother used to always say, "You're gonna make your way, honey. Like, don't be so hard on yourself." She's like, "You're too hard on yourself all the time. You're gonna figure it out and grow up." And she was right. I wish I could have believed her at times long ago. I wish I would have sat and listened to her stories. And I was just at that age sometimes where I thought I was too cool, or just not wanting to sit and learn from her. And I do regret that I didn't take that time when I was younger to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And so flash forward, Sterling and I had a lot of conversations about what the future would look like for me. He's like, you need to go back to school. This has got to happen. And I had been taking classes on and off at Forsyth Technical Community College. And I said, I really would like to go into nursing. I just don't know if I'm smart enough. Like, that's what I said. I just don't know if I'm smart enough. And again, very deep-seated. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I going to get rejected? And what I didn't realize, in life, you're always going to get rejected. You're never going to get everything you want the first time you try. Some people do. And if they do, I think that is fantastic.
Yes.
Like, sometimes I've just had to be a little bit more gritty on certain things. So we agreed that it would have been the best route was for me to quit my job and to go to nursing school. And that's what I did. I took classes at Forsyth Tech full time, and Chandler I started when she was a year old, and I was still working part-time some. He was a youth pastor, so, we had to put food on the table.
Fair.
Right. But those were some really good times. I mean, we look back at how creative we got with certain things, and we could create some meals out of nothing.
I love that.
Decorations and, so those are some really fun early years. But I went back to school. I got into the nursing program at Forsyth Tech and completed my associate's degree in nursing. And during that time when I was in school, I was stopped by the dean of the nursing program, and I had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and speak up on C-SPAN.
Oh,
And
cool.
it was in 2004, and it was the Conference on the Economy, and my panel was Jobs of the 21st Century. And Secretary Elaine Chao led that panel, and we had a private reception with President George W. Bush.
Wow.
Yes.
I was sitting at her table.
And-
I had no idea.
And I was thinking, how did I end up here? And she
had
said,
imposter syndrome.
Yes, imposter syndrome. I wish, and again, I'm working on it. It's much better at this age now. It's kind of like I have nothing to prove to anybody at this point. I will happily hand over every success that I've had and tell you about all the lessons learned to get there, right? I'm at that point in my career where I'm kind of happily handing things and
to
seeing
the next
other
generation.
people grow. I still have a lot to do. There's still a lot that I want to do, but I want to see other people come up because I don't want to work forever.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I don't want to do this forever. Although I love being a nurse and I love caring and teaching. So who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll be like some of the nurses that I've worked with. They're still teaching into their 80s
Oh
and,
my
and
gosh.
loving it.
Wait, so what did the was it you said Secretary Elaine?
Elaine Chow.
What did she
And
say?
This was amazing. So I get all my credentials. I head up to Washington, D.C. with the president of Forsyth Technical Community College. And we are in the green room having this private tea with the president. There's like 30, 40 people maybe. That's it.
Wild.
Now, it took me back to my girls' day days. So I've always loved policy and I've always enjoyed going to D.C. There's something about advocacy that is a heartbeat, and that is a call that the Lord has given me to advocate for those who don't have a voice and for the least of these. When you're put in a position that you have the ability to do that, we should.
Yeah.
We should be doing that. And there I was with the president, and not my best moment. But when you're meeting the president of the United States,
imagine. I don't know what I would do either.
I said, "You smell really nice." I told George Bush that he smelled nice. Okay. So gracious.
Did he say thank you?
He did. Oh, he did. Because I am sure people have said other things, and his chief of staff who was there was so kind, and he's like, oh, he's used to hearing all sorts of things. And I was like, thank you. So then I see him over at the coffee pot later, and I'm like, I have got to redeem myself. I am not going down like that.
I will not be known
Yes.
as this woman.
So I walk up and I was like, Mr. President, let me introduce myself to you. Right. Now that I have it together, let me introduce myself. And I did. And I told him, I said, I feel like I'm the least likely person to be here. I'm a nursing student and a mom and a wife, and I've never done anything like this before. And he said to me, this is so great. He's like, we are so glad you're here, and you're going to be the head of the panel.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That is so wild. Were you the hit?
I think so.
Yeah?
I like not the sound.
No,
right?
not too sure.
Toot it.
Toot
But-
toot.
Yes, but I have it on my phone. I'll show it to y'all later. I have it saved.
Yeah.
So while everybody, and this was a big lesson now as a professional in my realm, where I realized sometimes I have to watch the professionals speak when we're on these panels, or if we're speaking at conferences and in professional spaces, because we tend to really, we know our work so well that we tend to speak that and forget about just being, hey, here's the real deal.
Yeah.
So on that panel, you had a lot of people speaking all this, talking head speak, and then there's me. And I was like, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I want to do. Here's where I want to go. And this is the awesome thing. I cannot wait to show this video to y'all. Now, ignore the early 2000s makeup that they put on me and the orange and blue that I was wearing.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So we have all blown up. That was a new mom, right? But it was so neat to see. It just felt prophetic that I was talking about, here's what I want to do. One day I'm going to be the one teaching. One day I'm going to be the one in those executive leadership roles. One day I'm going to be the difference maker.
Yeah.
And here we are 20 years later,
Yes.
and I'm doing it. And
Cheers.
cheers to that.
Seriously.
That
You
opportunity.
Sorry. Cheers.
That opportunity opened doors for me that I could have never imagined. And this was back when caller ID existed. So I got home and Sterling said, hey, the White House called. And he was like, yeah, I've got to get credentials.
It's
And
George.
It's George. He smells really good. We got to go say cologne. He smells great. But he was so like he was really kind and compassionate, and I miss the days in this country, and I really think for your generation there was a time where politicians, even if they disagreed fundamentally on things, they came together because they were human beings.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what it is today, and we won't get political. I'm just all about the people and the person and taking care of people, but I hate to see
The division.
yeah.
Yes.
I really do. I think at some point we've got to find some common ground.
Some unity.
Yeah.
That's
all
like
that Jesus wants.
That's it.
That's right. That's right.
You
we've
don't have
gotta
to believe
find it.
what I believe. I don't have to believe what you believe, but
Yeah.
we should treat each other as
With
human
respect
beings.
We absolutely should with respect and grace, and I just think that there's a lot of hate in this world, and we've got to figure out how to move past that.
And while still caring about certain policies and
That's right.
conflict going on, like there are things that are important and that need
That's
to
right.
be fought for. But
That's right.
I do think it's probably important that we do it out of a place of love and unity and compassion and understanding and humility, because I feel like people just want to be right.
And then they'll
rather than
stick
they
to
wanna-
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and there's not a lot of humility right now
Yeah.
coming
No.
out of our politicians. And
No.
and that to me is a really sad space. That
It is.
statesmanship, that statespersonship is not there like it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's an unfortunate thing for I think the younger generations that are coming up. They've
Well, we'll
never-
pray for change.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I
Yeah, I
think the
think so, too.
generation, they are champions for justice. They believe in people. They believe in community. And they are change agents. My nursing students, oh my gosh, I tell them all the time, I say, you have the opportunity to change the world in a way we never had. You are connected globally. You know how to mobilize. They have things they can do. They're also very big on authenticity. They don't want fluff and stuff anymore. They want to be
Yes.
entertained. They want real conversation. They want real change.
Yeah, there's a revival happening for
100%.
sure, right? It's like you can feel the build up.
Oh yeah, the energy is. I mean, I even think back to that Forrest Frank concert we were at when he was talking. He's like, I feel like Jesus coming back soon, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I think there's on so many different levels. There is a political revival coming. There's Jesus, like that, a full revival coming. I mean, it's
Even outside of America,
Something
which
has to change
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
Something has to change.
we're reaching a breaking point,
Correct.
yeah,
and the volcano is going to blow.
But feeling peace in the midst
yes,
of that, right?
that's what I was
So
gonna say.
important.
Feeling peace. There are just things that are out of our control. We can use our voice. We can stand for what's right. We can stand for what's wrong. But feeling peace in the midst of that is so important.
Yeah, yeah. It's Are we? Yeah,
we're still rolling.
we're
just come. Sterling's just. What is Sterling holding?
What is he holding? Yeah,
He's like holding
like a tray.
tomatillo sauce on a cutting board.
Yeah. Come on in.
Sterile. Yeah, we did confuse him. We were cheersing to Kelly.
She was the main. She's the main event.
She is the main event.
No, no,
You're
no.
not wrong.
I like the appetizer. I like the bell. I like the boiled chicken and sauce. She's like a filet mignon.
Oh my
buddy.
Can we keep that in?
Yes. Yes.
Filet mignon.
These mics are
Thank
good.
you,
though.
babe.
Totally
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So while I was finishing my associate's degree, I had the most amazing mentors and faculty members, and very much invested in me and believed in me. And I had one in particular, her name is Dr. Linda White, and she said, Kelly, you need to teach. You need to go forward. And I said, okay, I do. And I enrolled in just like a few other classes. I had started as a new graduate on labor and delivery in Winston-Salem. So I worked on high-risk labor and delivery for many years. I've just always had a heartbeat for that. And it's hard. You're with people during the most beautiful, intimate moment of their life, but you're also with people during the hardest moments of their lives.
Yeah.
Not all pregnancies go the way that they're predicted, and there's a lot of high-risk things that happen. You're holding mom's hands through emergency sections, through placental abruptions, through ICU stays, through those types of things, stillborn.
Oh,
There's
gosh, yeah.
there's a lot of things no one thinks about with labor and delivery,
Sure.
but you truly have to be empathetic. You have to be compassionate, and you have to know how to talk to people and include them in their care. And so one of my favorite parts about being a labor and delivery nurse was giving choice and making people feel safe and comfortable during a very vulnerable and unsure time. So making sure they had a voice in the care that they were receiving, even if there was an emergency, being sure to say, what do you want from this? What can I do for you? Or here's what's going on. We have to move fast, but I'm going to be here telling you everything and including their family in that.
So you were advocating for your patients.
Always. And I think that's a gift that God has always put on my heart is to be an advocate. I like justice. I like making sure that people feel heard and feel good about who they are and about their choices. And it plays into, I'll talk later about Sterling and his surgery that certainly ended up in a whole nother spot that I could have never dreamed of, but that advocacy piece came in handy. I found I was actually helping to advocate for other people on the ICU floor too. And some of that was just, I had the knowledge and people need help. And I'm not one who can sit there and let other people hurt. And part of it helped me take my mind off of my own situation to go, okay, I can pour in and feel something normal, something that feels normal in this crazy situation. So I completed my RN to BSN at Gardner-Webb University, again, under the most amazing faculty you can imagine. And they said, would you like to continue on to do your master's degree? And I said, absolutely. They're like, you have a gift of education. And so I did my master's in nursing education and finished that. And then went on to do my doctor of nursing practice. So all with, and we had 4 children by this time, all
That's
under
wild. Yeah.
the age of 6. And when I graduated, there were 4 under the age of 10.
Wow.
So during this time, we had Reynolds. I was pregnant with Reynolds during nursing school, and she would go with me in her car carrier to lab. She was such a cool baby.
That's so powerful
chill.
for other people to see too.
Yes. And then we had Deacon, and then we had Emerson. She doesn't like to be called Emerson. So she's Emmy. Emmy for short. And it worked. I look back and I say, Sterling, how did we do this? And I was in leadership at that time too. So I had transitioned from being a bedside expert on labor and delivery to working in management and then in executive leadership. And that was just really hard being in school.
Oh, I'm sure.
Raising children. I needed a change. So I went into education in the hospital side and then went to the University of North Carolina, Wilmington as a professor, taught in their undergraduate and their graduate programs, was recruited to Wake Forest School of Medicine, where I served as the director of their Doctor of Nursing practice program for a while. Went to Medical University of South Carolina, where I was an assistant dean of undergraduate studies. During that time, Sterling, that's when he got sick and ended up in the hospital. Being an executive role during that time was just not going to work for my family and I. So I resigned without having another job to go to. But I knew I couldn't carry and give 100% and do my best in that role and take care of my home. And our home needed a lot of healing. I'm so thankful. I have 2 amazing friends, Nina and Michelle. Shout out to them. They are both faculty, nursing faculty at UNC Wilmington. They advocated for me. I reached out to the director of nursing at UNC Wilmington at the time and said, hey, I'd like to come back. And he said, submit your application. And yeah, we're good. And that door swung wide open. So for the past 2 years, I've been back on faculty there. I still work part-time at New Hanover Regional Medical Center and their clinical and professional development department, teaching women's health and OB. So I still keep up that practice side that I love and teaching. And I was able to be at UNCW for the last 2 years to really heal and to be present with my family. Our children went through a lot. Sterling went through a lot. He needed a lot of recovery. I needed a lot of recovery and space to do that. What I found during the past 2 years, particularly this last year, is that I've really missed leadership a lot. I've missed creating things. I've missed being underneath, being able to build and create partnerships and innovate. And that's really that space that I love. And God is so good. I have a dear friend who's the dean at MUSC in Charleston. She's the new dean of the College of Nursing, and just a really forward-thinking, innovative leader. She is big on accountability. She is clear as kind, and she empowers others. She's not a micromanager. And so through some conversations, I will be transitioning there as an associate professor and director of nursing education, strategy, and advancement, where I get to work on partnerships and pathways for individuals to obtain a degree in nursing through different methods and modes that maybe they couldn't have gotten to otherwise. So it is opening the door for so many people from different backgrounds. And that's important to me, is to get those pathways. Also helping to hopefully build some centers of excellence focused on advocacy, women, and leadership. I'm really moving into looking at the perimenopause, menopause space. That's my generation. That's my age right now. Nobody ever talks to you about it. So we'll have a conversation in another podcast on that. But that's a whole nother situation to navigate. So I'm looking forward to doing these things. The best part is that I still get to live in Wilmington and commute to Charleston. And so that's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm really excited. For the first time in a long time, I feel in alignment to this professional role. I feel like this was made for me. And the thought of being able to impact, this is bringing together my leadership, my teaching, my clinical practice into one. So it's really a dream position for me, and it helps my family. And so I think this is something I'm doing for me. And that feels good. And I hope my children, that they look at me and they think, man, Mom, that's awesome. You are out there like loving the Lord, loving Dad, loving us, and you're thriving as a professional.
And as a woman.
And as you.
And
who you are.
And I'm finally knowing who I am. There is such a freedom in knowing who you are and being okay with that. And being okay if people don't always like you or agree with you. And that's been a hard thing for me, because I like everybody to feel good. I am like peace, love, hippie, happiness. I want everybody, I want good energy. I want everybody to feel good. But coming into that space to go, it's not their job to make me feel good. It's not their job to agree with me. If they don't, that's okay. I know who I am in Christ, and I know what my family needs and what our unit needs.
Absolutely.
And if I wouldn't take advice from them, I don't need to listen. And if those around me that are closest are supporting me, and even if they don't understand what I'm doing, that's okay. I know. And that is between me, God, and my family.
Yeah. I think once you have that strong unit at home, it just begins to pour out in every other way. Career, friendships, community.
Yes.
But the foundation, even just your foundation in your relationship with Christ, and then in your home, and then in your community.
Just radiates out.
Yeah.
It does. And there's a piece about it. And some of it may be getting older. Some of it may be really great therapy. It's been so helpful. I have the most amazing therapist, and I've got some really great women my own age that we're going through some of those same things, and we're real and raw and can talk about it. You can be a Christian and you can struggle with things.
Yes, ma'am.
It is okay. So I remember when my kids were younger, Sterling was on staff as a youth pastor, and I remember being very down. We're living in a parsonage in the middle of the country. You know me. I am not a country girl. I have tried. Now I might now that I'm older, I might like some land and
some chickens.
I like to be alone a lot more at this point in my life. But then I needed community and I didn't have it. And I was really down. And I remember sharing with an older woman in the church. And I said, I just feel so sad all the time. And I love my children. And of course I'm justifying, right? I have no reason to justify any
Right.
of
Like,
this.
I feel
Why the
sad.
heck did we
So-
justify? Like, I
It's
feel
okay
sad.
to feel sad.
But you know what she said to me?
Oh no.
This is where that church hurt comes in. She said, that's a sin.
Oh my
She
gosh.
said, worry and anxiety are sins.
What, because you're not giving it to God?
Yeah. And I was giving it to God. And if I could have cured it and if I could have fixed it, I would have. And so I walked that alone and I
so
didn't
sorry.
share with anybody because I thought, well, I have to be strong. I can be strong. I can be in control. The problem with that is that you wear yourself out and then you just get
And then you
resentful
think
and then
you're-
you blow up.
Yeah.
And I will say this, ladies, and my mom used to always tell me this. She's like, Kelly, you can only take so much. And she wasn't wrong because I did have a moment where I think my family was probably like, what happened to Mom? Like, I lost it. And I'm not my proudest moment.
But you're human.
Right? But it happened.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do everything for everybody. I can't solve all of this. But when it led to some really great conversation and honesty, where they're like, we don't want you to do everything for us and fix everything
Right.
for us.
And you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah, what is happening here? So I think that we have to take care of ourselves. I love the age that I am right now. I never thought that I would say that. I feel better than I've ever felt. I feel more in alignment with who I am called to be in Christ. Feel more confident in my own skin.
I love that.
And I'm looking forward to my 50s. I really am. I'm looking forward to that. And my hope is that I will be a place of refuge for people and a safe place for young women to come to and to talk to. And
You will.
That I'm a model.
You already are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
That I'm a model for them to go, yeah, life is messy. And, you know, my marriage, we've been married 26 years. It's not been perfect. We have walked through some really hard times, but we've overcome that because we're together on the same team.
Yeah.
All marriages go through some recalculating.
Oh,
That's what I call it.
Oh my gosh.
Recalculating.
We need to get
Yeah.
recentered.
That's right.
We are
Right.
married 5 years and we've
Yeah.
already recalibrated a couple
That's and
times.
then you have to because and sometimes you have to carry your spouse and they have to carry
Amen.
you and
Yes.
you go through seasons and you go through some unimaginable things and it's how you handle it. And for us, we communicate and that's something we've always said. We're not going to not communicate.
Right.
We have coffee every morning.
They do.
And that was a game changer in our marriage because I'm sure there were some times I'm like, how the heck did we make it? How did
Yeah.
we make it
Morning
26
coffee and
years?
Jesus.
That's
Yes.
right. And that's been the game changer. And being honest with each other and not being defensive.
Which
So
is
maybe
such a
that's
hard
a whole
space
nother
to get so
podcast.
hard. We're going to have you back on multiple times.
That we can talk about.
Do you
is-
want to briefly, talk about the hard, maybe I'm sure there are
Yes.
multiple hardships, being married for 26 years, but I would assume one of the hardest times of your life was going through what happened with Sterling.
Absolutely. In 2023, he had his third open heart surgery where he had something, it was called an aortopulmonary fistula. So what that means is that in 2020, he had a double valve replacement, an aortic arch repair, and a bypass. So what had happened is the two valves that he had replaced had a hole going through the aortic root that was replaced. So everything he had done in 2020 had a hole through it.
It was broken.
Yes. So there was major inflammatory issues. They're pretty sure there was infection that was going on. And there's just not a 100% clear reason of why this happened. An aortopulmonary fistula is considered to be fatal. So in the medical world, people don't survive these. He actually had a case study written about him. And I don't know if he shared that with you.
No, he didn't.
But they wrote a case study because this is so rare. And the fact that he survived it for as many days as he did. He was up walking around the hospital the day before he had his open heart surgery with blood pressures 70/30 and looking
Fine.
Yes. And that's been one of the issues with Sterling is that he looks good. So oftentimes he's like, I'm fine. And praise the Lord, we have had the most amazing medical team. We have Dr. Tim Winslow here. We have Dr. Neil Kahn. I think he is just one of the most amazing men I have ever met. I'm so thankful. And he knows how to handle my husband, Sterling. Sterling's alpha and stubborn. And I would tell him this. He is.
Yes. Of course.
And so Dr. Kahn knows how to handle that in him. And so does Tim. They can call him on his stuff. And it's nice to know
like being that good friend.
That's right. And they're like, we love you and we're trying to keep you alive. So quit, throwing a temper tantrum and get over it. I love it. So, and that's what he does. So I will always tell Dr. Khan, I am forever thankful for him and the nurse in his office, Tammy. Just amazing people that God puts in your life. And I don't know that we'll ever be able to repay them.
Yeah.
So when Sterling was having the surgery, I knew as a nurse, as a medical professional, how bad this was going to be. He wasn't quite so informed, and I'm glad in a way that even when they were telling him how bad it was, he didn't hear it. But I just remember the morning, I stayed the night with him the night before his surgery in his hospital room, and I just stayed up all night praying. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I just held his hand and I prayed over him, and I just said, God, I know this is probably going to be it. Like, I really thought the last time I was going to see him was in the hospital room getting on the stretcher to go downstairs. And he was wearing a red Hurley surf shirt and, khaki shorts. And I just didn't want to let go of his hand.
Yeah.
Because I knew how bad it was. And I was looking at his vitals and knowing the condition he had. And I thought his body is just so tired and beat up. I don't know how he's going to do. And it's his third open heart surgery. He's going to bleed a lot. Unfortunately, I think one of the things that I would have done would have not gone and done a full lit search on this condition. But again, that
But how do you not
researcher in
as
me,
a researcher?
and I'm like, I want to know what is going on with my husband, and I'm a prepper. Or y'all like, I want to be prepared. So one thing I learned from this is I have zero control. I have zero control of anything in this world, and I thought I could control it by having knowledge, and it actually made it a lot worse.
Wow.
So he goes downstairs and I start crying. And one of the nurses on the unit walked in the room and I just looked at her and I said, I know. And that's just nurse speak for.
Was she giving you like the look?
She gave me the look and I said, I know. And she gave me a big hug and I was like, okay, I need to get to the waiting room. And I'll tell you, we are blessed. We are surrounded with so much support. Like you and Ross sent us that huge box of like beautiful blankets and t-shirts and, just like they sent us this comfort basket. You guys sent me hair clips. Like I had a friend bring me dry shampoo. I had another friend who went and grocery shopped for our kids. And I gave her this list of a bunch of healthy stuff. And she's like, I don't think so. They're getting Doritos. They're getting Takis. And they're getting all this stuff that mama would never buy for them. So he's in there, he's in the OR, and one of my friends, Grace, is a CRNA. And thankfully I was on faculty I was still adjunct faculty at the School of Medicine at Wake Forest at the time. So thankful to know people that cared. And they took care of Sterling. They took care of me. People were coming in and out of the waiting room. My mom and stepdad, and I don't know if Sterling talked about this, they opened their home to everyone. I stayed there for 44 days. Didn't do my laundry once. My mom took care of that. Dennis, my stepdad, dad, drove me to the hospital every morning, would pick me up so I could come home and sleep for 4 or 5 hours. Bed was always turned down. Mom would have Yellowstone on sometimes just so we could watch something.
Yeah, like disassociate a little bit.
She's like, take your mind off this. Here's a glass of wine. She's an amazing cook. Had, our neighbors, Kyle and Lauren Van Zant, they also helped take care of our kids, get them to driver's ed. They drove them back and forth to Winston-Salem with a newborn baby.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Our neighborhood put rails up in our house. They fed our children. You just can't make this up. My brother and sister-in-law never left my side. My mom was wearing herself out. going back and forth. Like my stepmom, Wendy, brought me Chinese food, which I, like my little guilty pleasures. sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we had friends from the local churches there that Sterling grew up, good friends that just took care of us and took time and invested. And I don't know if Sterl had a chance to share that, but I think that's important because our children needed a lot of love, and they were the ones that I was the most worried about. Two of them celebrated birthdays while he was in the hospital. So Reynolds celebrated her birthday, and it was the second time she had to celebrate a birthday with Sterling having heart surgery.
Oh, man.
And Emerson celebrated her 15th birthday while he was in rehab. So they went through a lot, and they had to handle it. I wasn't planning on being gone for over a month from the house. And they handled it with maturity, but they also shouldn't have had to walk through that.
They had to grow up a little quicker.
They did. So throughout the day, I'll flash back, throughout the day of Sterling's surgery, I kept getting updates from the medical team, and I knew it wasn't good. I had gone on his my chart, and I was like, oh, his lactic acid looks bad. This is not good. And then I started spinning. And one of my friends is the director of the OR at Wake, and I texted her, and I was like, what's going on? She's like, it's okay. They're keeping him stable, was kind of her words. And as I kept getting calls, I was reading through the lines. I was asking them very hard questions, which they were hesitant to answer. And I just remember my mom saying, you just need to be a wife right now and not a nurse. You need to just focus on what you're going to tell the kids. Like, you have got to keep yourself together.
Yeah.
And
So hard.
it is very hard. I was so thankful. People brought food into the waiting room. Like, they kept me busy and occupied. So when I finally got the last call of the night from the OR, he said, hey, we weren't able to close his chest. He went into something called vasoplegia. So he was bleeding out and cardiogenic shock. So his heart didn't want to work. So they put what was called an aortic balloon pump in, which was pumping his heart for him because he had right ventricle failure completely. And he had bled out, and his body just did not want to stop bleeding. So he didn't want to come off the bypass pump. Now the surgery, they fixed his heart, but it was just his body wasn't responding to it because it was so tired. And this was my instinct when he first had gone down to surgery. And I remember going up to the 7th floor CVICU, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and my mom and my stepdad were with me. And I just remember feeling so defeated. And I was like, how can I tell the kids this? Like, how can I call my children and tell them Dad's probably not going to make it? Like, surgery did not go as planned, and he's probably not going to make it. And I had a chance to go back. Dr. Khan came up, and he was so encouraging. He's like, no, you're not going to get discouraged. He's like, stop crying. In a nice way. Like, he knew me well enough to be like, you got to be strong. Like, stop crying.
Like, we're not giving up yet.
And that's what he told me. He said, I am not giving up. He's got a lot of life in him, is what he said. So he's
So
like, do you
true.
want to go back? So my brother-in-law went back with me because I thought, I can't do this on my own. And just a side note, my biological dad, passed away in the room that Sterling was in. Yes.
Oh my
I didn't know that.
In 2016, yes. So I was like, God, what are you doing to me? I can't. But then here's what happened. I said, he's not dying in that room. That will not happen on my watch. So I became very determined. But when I walked in the room, I don't know that there's any words to describe seeing 21 medications hooked up on IV pumps, blood running, albumin, other fluids, the vent, an aortic balloon pump, and I touch his butt and his heart goes out of rhythm. And I think it just all came together. And he's got an open chest because they couldn't close his chest. Now he's covered, but you can see all the equipment. And I just remember, first of all, I walked in and I was like, oh, F. I mean, like there's no other words, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I looked at my brother-in-law and I was like, this cannot be happening. Like I knew it was going to be bad. This I couldn't imagine. And he was a one-on-one patient in the ICU, meaning he was extremely critical. And when his heart went out of rhythm, I started hyperventilating. And in my mind, I was like, hold on a minute. I'm a nurse. I handle crazy stuff. Why am I doing this?
It's your husband.
Right?
Yeah.
So one of the nurses, I was like, I need to get out of this room for a minute because I just didn't want to see him shocked anymore. It's hard to watch something like that. And she sat me down in a chair and she got me calmed down. She's like, just drink a little water. Let's talk through this. And I was like, and then I apologized. Like, why did I apologize? And I said, are y'all going to talk about me in the break room? And she was like, oh, honey, no. She was like, this is not good. This is not good. And I said, no, it's not. And then I was like, he would be so pissed off right now if he saw himself laying like this. Like, Sterl was thinking he was going to go home in 3 days. And now he is in the fight of his life. Here's what I would have done different. I was terrified to call our children. And I didn't have the strength. I was so worn out from being up the night before and from worrying and from spinning. And my sister-in-law, amazing woman, like just such a fierce advocate. And she said to me, she's like, honey, the Holy Spirit hears your groans. He knows your heart and where you're at right now. I'm like, we are just praying for your strength. So I called the kids and I probably sugarcoated it a bit more than I should have because we weren't there. I mean, we are 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, somebody needs to be with them right now. But there was part of me that was like, okay, this is not the ending of our story. This is not how it ends like this. Looking back, I wish I would have included them throughout the day. I wish that I would have believed in my ability to communicate it and in their ability to handle it. And I was trying so hard to protect them that I do think as a mom, I didn't protect them as much because I didn't fully disclose everything. And that's a conversation I've had with the children that I've apologized to them.
How did they respond to that?
They were so gracious.
Yeah.
They were so gracious.
They're the best kids.
Yeah. But nobody gives you an instruction booklet on that, right? That is the one thing. Nobody going through informed consent ever said, hey, this could happen. Like they didn't even anticipate that happening. And so I remember going back in the room and they've gotten Sterling settled for the night. And I just remember telling him, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry you're having to go through all this, but I'm going to fight for you. And you're going to get through this because you have to, because you would be so angry if this is how you died. Don't let my husband rape me. And it sounds so selfish, but I was like, we have 4 children. We have a life to live. We have a lot of life to live. And then it also put all the small, stupid things that we had ever argued over or that we had ever just like lost sleep over into perspective in that one moment when you are faced with the reality that your husband's probably not going to make it. It changes a lot of things. And I remember my mom and stepdad were like, you need to go home and sleep for a minute. So my brother-in-law and sister-in-law stayed so that I could go shower and sleep. And I just remember my mom holding me and she's like, you've got this. You've got this. She's like, you need to really get your mind in a good place because you've got a lot of decisions to make and a lot to handle. And I did. And I'm thankful. I went to sleep for a little bit, which was very hard, but I think I was so exhausted. And
your body just took over.
I woke up at 4 a.m. and I called the ICU and they're like, he's still stabilized. He's still stable. Went in that morning and it was like a roller coaster. I said it was like having a NICU baby. If anyone has had a baby in the NICU, you have really good days and you have really bad days. But what I knew was that God was not done with him.
Yeah.
And even on his really bad days, I made it a point, everyone that came in that room, I put up pictures all over. his students had written him the most beautiful notes, like really funny dad joke notes. So I was telling him his really corny dad jokes.
Yeah.
We put scripture, my sister-in-law put scripture all over the room. And we just prayed over that room. And I made it a point where if somebody came in and they were negative, I was like, no, not in this room. No negativity is going to be spoken in this room. And I had, thankfully, there were some amazing practitioners. Like that whole ICU, they were cheering for him.
Yeah.
And I know we talk a lot about the medical system now, and that's a whole nother podcast that we can talk about change and advocacy and listening. But I'm going to tell you, he had an entire team cheering him on and not wanting to give up. And even if there was one or two that maybe wanted to give up, they were outnumbered by other people. Yeah. And he was having this really bad night. And that is a night, just the stories that came out of that, I really believe that was the evening where he was standing at the entrance of eternity, where I was standing over him, and there was this medical team I didn't recognize in the room, and they're like circling all around, and I'm just saying, can somebody tell me what's going on? They're like, well, his organs are failing. He's in multi-systems organ failure. We need to start something called ECMO right now. Now, it is evening time, and I'm like, you know what? It is evening. You do not have a full OR team. If something goes bad, this is not good. I had just looked at his labs, and mind you, again, I should have been more of the wife than the nurse, but
but you can't shut it off.
That's right. So I'm looking, and I'm like, I don't like his platelets. I don't like this thing called his D dimer. I don't like these other counts. He's going to bleed out if this happens. Like, I'm not a CV nurse, but I am a high risk OB nurse, and I know bleeding disorders in pregnancy. And I'm like, labs are labs, no matter where you're at. So I was not comfortable with that plan of care. And I asked the team, I said, somebody needs to call Neil Kahn right now. And they did. And I told Dr. Kahn my concerns, and he said, you know what? Yeah, we're going to wait until the morning. And so they let him rest. He just told the team, let Sterling rest tonight. Let him rest. I'll come in the morning and I'll close his chest. He was doing that simply as a courtesy to the family at that time. And when I was reading the notes beforehand, it said multi-systems organ failure, multiple, revitalizations and bridging to ECMO support after chest closure and RV failure. So the thought was they were going to take him down, and that was it. So my family and I were in the waiting room, and we had to talk. Sorry, just a moment. We had to talk about funeral and plans and what Sterling would want, and it was really hard. And I just remember feeling like I was floating, like it was an outer body experience, and just praying and going, God, I need to be present in this moment. I owe it to my husband to be present and to be strong, but I do not feel any of those things at all. My cousin Katrina, who had come in town from Wilmington, was there with us. What a gift, right? And she's so strong. And just having her there, we had friends that just showed up that were like, God just told me to come here. It was wild. It was people calling and texting, y'all calling like, hey, we just felt like we needed to check in at this moment. And so I get a call from one of the CRNAs, and she's like, have you looked at his my chart and at the notes from his surgery? And I said, no. And she said, well, Dr. Kahn's going to come up to talk to y'all in just a minute. And I thought, that's it. And we're sitting in this waiting room, and there's like people all around. And I'm like, this can't be where you tell me that he's passed, that he's gone, like that he's gone to be with the Lord. And Dr. Kahn had come up, and he said, I didn't start ECMO, and I'm going to tell you why. And he said, I need you to know there's disagreements on the team, but I need you to trust me. And I'm like, I trust you with anything, Dr. Kahn. Like, I would go bungee jump with you. You know, and so he just said, I started thinking about Sterling's labs and why he didn't like the pump, and Then he ran labs, which found out Sterling had something called heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. It's very rare. Leave it to Sterling. If it's rare, he's going to get it. And he said he's always more complex than he needs to be.
Yeah.
And he diagnosed him with heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. It's called HIT. It's a heparin allergy. And once they gave him medicine to start reversing that, it was better. But he said, I didn't start ECMO. I knew I didn't need to start ECMO because Sterling didn't like the pump and ECMO was a pump. And he said the team didn't agree with me, but there's an art of medicine and there's a science of medicine, and I am practicing the art of medicine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This man saved my husband's life because he engaged me in that care. And I think God just gave me an intuition about it, and I trusted it.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say 10 years ago, I wouldn't have trusted it. Maybe not even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I felt so strongly about it. And
It gives you the chills.
and Sterling started turning a corner. His right ventricle started working. But before they took him down, and I will share this picture with you. I don't think Sterling would mind. Before they took him down to close his chest, I had come in early that morning and I was holding his hand and there was no life. You know, before I had felt some life in him, and I just felt tiredness in him, and I was praying over him. And my sister-in-law captured this moment, and I just remember I had a conversation just telling him, catching him up on the kids, telling him what a beautiful life we've had, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and that I wouldn't change anything. And I was like, if you're tired, I feel how tired you are and you've been fighting so hard. And if it's too much, you can let go and you can go and be with the Lord. And we're going to celebrate that. And we're going to be okay somehow. Like, we're going to figure this out. We're surrounded by love and support. We're going to figure it out. And we'll see each other again sooner than later. But then I said, if you are not ready to go, you better fight like hell, because I am done being in the middle. Like, I was like, you better declare what you want. Like,
That's so powerful.
and that's what I told him. And then when he was telling me about standing and being held at the entrance of heaven, and hearing someone tell him, I'll help you stay and fight if you want it. And that correlates completely to that conversation. I know. And that's a profound moment. And sometimes when I get like really mad about some of the little things that happen, I'm like, hold on a minute. You know, like I was telling you goodbye. So this is not that big of a deal compared to death. And, you know, reloading the dishwasher behind me.
Yes, Sterling is very particular in how the dishwasher gets loaded.
Honestly, I am too. So I'll have to do it, right? Like, hey, you want to do that? Go for it. You want to fold the laundry? Yes, thank you.
Love that.
But it puts it all into perspective. We are not promised tomorrow.
Right.
We are not promised this beautiful, perfect life, but we are promised the gift of walking in the will and in the ways of our Lord. And we are promised fellowship. We are promised the ability to live like Christ, right?
Yeah.
He gives us that. And we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the Lord, to the redemption that we have been given to live in the fullness of our gifts.
Yes.
And in relationship with
Amen.
each other. We
Yes.
should live in relationship with
That's
each
what
other.
he wants.
And through all of that, we've gotten that our children are so close with each other. I love it.
They are.
And I do hope that I always feel like I go back to, I feel like I failed them during that time. And one day when they're older and they have children of their own, they'll be able to look back at that. And I'm thankful for their grace to me.
Yeah.
And again, I told him I didn't have an instruction booklet on this. And in my attempt to protect, I probably made things a lot more anxious
That's okay.
for them. But
Yeah.
it's amazing the strength God gives you in that. When I went back to the hospital that next day, I was focused and zoned in.
Wow.
And I probably should have done some updates on Facebook. I just felt like it made it a reality.
Yeah.
I did. And I didn't want so many voices coming in at that point in time. I'm a processor, and I have a very introverted side to me. And so I needed silence in my brain to make the best decision without everybody asking. And it was well-meaning places, right?
course.
People wanted to know from a well-meaning place. but I wanted to protect our kids and I wanted to protect me.
Yeah,
And I
as you
just knew that
should.
boundary.
Yes.
So hopefully we will never be in that space again.
Prayerfully.
Yeah.
And if we are, you know what? We are.
Yeah.
And we get through it.
Yeah.
We get through
Oh.
it. You just don't know. But life is beautiful, and I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to go from that insecure young woman to where I am today, and that is nothing but God.
Such an incredible story. I just,
Thank
Yeah. It is God, but we are so proud of you too.
Yeah, seriously.
You have been the hands and the feet and
Yes.
served well,
Thank you.
truly.
Thank you so much. This has
well,
been wonderful. I'm exhausted.
yeah, I
How
know.
about y'all? Like,
No.
wow, I share things with y'all that I just haven't really shared.
Well, we're
with
honored. We're
so
truly
many people,
honored.
so
should we say our last question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, every season we're gonna do a word, and this season is surrender. So you want to ask, what does surrender mean to you?
wow, that's a great question. And to me, now, surrender means God's sovereignty. He is sovereign. There is nothing in this world that has happened that he does not have knowledge of. There's nothing that is not going to happen that he does not have knowledge of. And so to me, surrender means trust. It means trusting in his sovereignty and in his goodness and in his grace, and believing in the times where we can't see it to the fullest of fruition, and knowing that he has our best interest in mind. And surrender also means enjoying the walk. So too often I think Christians view surrender as this negative tone, or that it's got to be drudgery. I'm surrendering. This
Right.
is like,
Yes.
look at me. I'm living, I'm just going to like dredge through life surrendering. No, it is so beautiful.
Like, I would say
Surrendering.
it's a gift.
It
It
is.
is.
It's delight. Like surrendering means, God, I am surrendering myself to give you the fullest of me.
And
You
it's
know, he
freeing.
knows the plans he has for us,
Yeah.
plans to prosper us, plans to really make sure the children are taken care of, plans to make us great. And I just think that we have to live in that. And so I just think about, when you look at Philippians 4, I love that, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is just, think upon these things.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
And then the peace
No
that
notes.
passes all understanding.
Yes.
In Christ. And
Oh,
and so that's where we are. And I'm sure I got those words backwards.
So
Oh,
good.
it's okay.
But, you know,
Okay.
we're a messy podcast.
we are messy. We're messy. But I don't have my scripture in front of me.
I know. And that's okay. You have it.
But and
your
God
soul.
says so many times, right? Do not fear. And I think surrender is part of that, letting go of our fear and our worry and trusting. We're gonna fear. We're gonna feel worry. He wouldn't have said it if we were.
So there's nothing wrong with feeling it.
No,
Right.
but trusting and God.
And God.
And God.
Yeah. I think we should name the episode that.
And God.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Ooh.
Well,
All right. Well,
cheers. Thank you, Sally. Oh my gosh, this was great. Cheers.
thanks for being here with us today. If something resonated, maybe a sentence, a silence, or a story, hold on to that. If you felt seen or stirred or simply curious, we hope you'll join us again. Until then, stay open, stay tender, and remember, there's always a seat for you at the table.